Last objective. Read mRNA and use either the table or wheel to decode the amino acids. Okay? So now we're at the last part. We've already talked about how proteins are made of amino acids. Let's talk about let's practice reading that table and decoding it. Remember before we talked about codons? Codons are in groups of 3, so if this question asks how many amino acids are there, we want to split this up into groups of 3. We're talking about 6 different amino acids, and so we're going to separate them out, if that helps. And now we want to actually use the wheel, or use the table, to decipher what amino acids they are. All right, so use this table, and in your notes, figure out what amino acids are actually in there. So like for example, the first one was AUG, we have A, we have U, AUG, methionine. You don't ever need to memorize this table, you need to memorize how to use this table. You will always get this table on questions, but you want to make sure you know how to use it. So practice using it right now. Looks like you guys are figuring it out. So we have AUG is methionine, GCU is alanine, UAC is tyrosine, CUG is leucine, UUG is also leucine, UGA is like the stop codon, or we stop making it. Technically, stop is not an amino acid, it's just to stop making them, but it's good to know what it does either way. All right. So they have another table that, in my mind, is actually a lot easier to use. It's the wheel. And the way the wheel works, let's say we have AUG. We start with the A, move to the U, move to the G, methionine. Much easier, right? We have UUU. We start with the U, move to the U, move to the U, phenylalanine. You guys like that one better? That one's on some of the problems. I personally believe that this one's better, but honestly, a lot of times in college, they'll only give you the table, because that's what people are used to using. This one, in my mind, is a far superior design, because you just go with GGG, GGG. Glycine. So practice using that wheel now for this set of practice problems. So new set of problems, try using the wheel to see if you can figure out what those amino acids are. Okay, so use this wheel to figure out these ones. You start here, so you have like AUG, Easier? Yeah. I really do think this one's easier. So like if you have AUG, you start with the A, move to the U, move to the G, methionine. UGU, start with the U, go to the G, go to the U, cysteine. So you always start at the middle of the table, kind of move out to the outside edge of the table.
This is right. What time do you switch?
You can probably switch now. Jordan, you can just go back and check in with your teacher to make sure they know you're here, and I think that should be fine. All right. Here's the answer key for those problems you just did. You should have methionine, cysteine, leucine, asparagine. This is my favorite amino acid. This is actually an amino acid that's in asparagus. Makes sense. It's asparagine, glycine, and stop.
Plus?
Okay. So just to summarize some information before we do the last 2 practice problems. Proteins are chains of amino acids. So each codon, or each 3-letter sequence, gives us an amino acid. We use those 3-letter sequence codons to figure out what the big chain of amino acids is. 3 bases equals 1 codon equals 1 amino acid. Just have that ratio in your mind. 3 bases, 1 codon, 1 amino acid. And then just remember that we use the table or the wheel to kind of translate or decode the mRNA to figure out what information is in that mRNA. All right. So let's do some practice problems. Determine the amino acid sequence from the following DNA sequence. Really important vocabulary word here, guys. We're talking about DNA. This is the DNA. Before we can use this table, we have to turn this DNA into RNA. So make sure you turn this DNA into RNA first before you go to decode it.
Six.
Okay. We have AUG, CUG. AUG is methionine. CUG is leucine. So C is going to be our best answer choice. All right. We are almost done. The very last thing we want to do is the last objective. I just want you to summarize how to use the table or wheel to decode the amino acids. So just describe, pretend like you're telling someone who's never done this before. How do you use that that table or that wheel to figure out the amino acids? Pretend like you're telling someone who's never done this before in their life. Give them some tips or some pointers on how to use these.